Are Steam Tanks any good in patch 5.1? I waited a little to do a standalone Steam Tank video to see how things would settle down with various patches, but other units were tweaked far more. So let's go over current patch Steam Tanks in what seems to be the form they'll stay for some time, and yes, they are good. Recruit for 2100 gold base and 525 upkeep. The Steam Tank is a single entity war machine coming in at 9102 health on ultra unit size. Armor is 160 with a directional shield blocking up to 70% of small arms missiles. That's 70% from the front, 35% from the sides, and 7% from the rear. There are no other special resistances to missiles or magic stock. Leadership is 100 and unbreakable. Speed is 48, charge speed 84, still fairly brisk. Melee attack starts at 36 with an attack interval of 4, and some of us will miss the dinky ramming animations. Splash target size is very large and therefore includes things like low entity count chariots, and the maximum targets damaged by splash attacks is 6. Steam away! Melee defense starts at 20. This is a full 100% improved over the 10 that it used to be. Awesome, huh? Weapon strength is given as 250, split between 70 base and 180 armor piercing, with a bonus versus infantry of 15. So while it's not helpless in a brawl, that's not meant to be its strength. Charge bonus is 80, which is hefty, and charging is no longer a chore, so you can send the Steam Tank in without much grief. Mass is an even 5000. Before getting into the range, the Steam Tank is a siege attacker, causes fear and terror, and like I said, unbreakable. It is also fire whilst moving, and that applies to both variants. The standard version has a cannon. Ammunition 40, range 380, missile damage 465 nominally, split between base 95 and AP 370, 1 shot per attack, reload time 10, total accuracy 40, which is good stuff, calibration distance 275, so less accurate past that, calibration area 8, which isn't pinpoint, but irrelevant if firing at a tower. Penetration size is very large, and maximum targets actually penetrated past the first is 9, so ideally you're firing across a unit, but often the battlefield is not so kind as to give you ideal shots. The Volley Gun variant also has ammunition 40, but range is 250, missile damage given as a nominal 940, split between base 45 and AP 143 per shot, 3 shots per volley, reload time of 6. Total accuracy is 30, calibration distance 250, default range it's within calibration 100% of the time. Calibration area is 5, though total accuracy does modify the real game spread. That's in the inner gear works, only CA knows all the details. Penetration cap size is medium and max targets penned is 2 targets after the initial hit. To state the obvious, the Volley Gun uses up its ammunition far faster, but against preferred targets, and I'd say that rather than simply infantry, small model cavalry with heavy armor like Empire Knights would be the more ideal target set. You're doing consistent armor piercing with a touch of penetration, so that's not at all bad. Both varieties have a steam shot that's not listed on these cards, but I finally got a statistic from the wiki. Base damage 20, AP 5, range 70, reload time 6 seconds. No idea on penetration, but you essentially get this for free. Clearly it's more of a help with squishier enemies, but you face lots of those. I have not been able to find any data on the tank commander's shots, but clearly they are occurring, the video makes it unmistakable. Stats aside, it's cool and I welcome it. Though some rat using a Warpstone sniper rifle is going to make the Empire go through a lot of commanders like this. In the Redline skills, Mighty Forge grants up to 8% reload time reduction and 15% ward save at 3 pips, and ward save just means 15% of all damage sources bounces off the hull. That's just amazing. Artillery Master grants rank 7 steam tanks plus 20% ammunition, plus 12% missile strength, and 10% reload time reduction, all extremely helpful to the tank's main job, firing at the enemy, just not the only job. The tech tree is the real star of the show since Thrones of Decay dropped. Improved piston technology grants plus 15% speed, plus 20% charge bonus flat, and plus 20% unit mass, so the steam tank gains more speed, helpful for impact damage and maintaining charges for longer, 6000 mass for the same purpose, and 100 charge bonus. Since you may be firing while going into the charge regardless, this is just lots of help. Reinforced armor plating adds 15 armor, getting up to a ridiculous 175, grants 10% missile resistance flat out, and adds ballistic plating, enabling parrying of actual artillery, including cannon fire. I'm not saying you want to get hit by being parked in one position, but if it's your tank laughing off bombardments, or your legendary lord on a griffin being ripped to shreds, I know which one I'd pick. Pinnacle of the Empire just gives -2 local recruitment duration for steam tanks and adds encourage to the units for higher morale around them. But if you're going with true tank spam, you need this. And more gold in the high elves in a Total War Warhammer 2 campaign, ideally. On top of this, you'd have the Elspeth campaign to lean on a bit more, but broadly speaking, Engineer Heroes and Master Engineer Lords bring restock and other benefits, such as the all-terrain vehicle skill with Engineers to give your tanks Vanguard deployment and Strider. Master of Ballistics adds reload skill and total accuracy to War Machine units, and tanks are War Machines obviously. So with all this said, how do you use the steam tanks? Well, I've said it before, but they're insane skirmishers, and that's even better now since they can soak so many missiles from the front, even armor-piercing ones. Their job is to make the enemy uncomfortable, and to pounce on opportunities to go from shooter to steamroller. They don't have perfect vigor anymore, but shooting doesn't tire them like it once did, so you don't really need it unless you're using them as full-time brawlers, and that should only be something done in desperation. Part-time brawling is the game they want to play. So I'd recommend goon squatting them, using the charge bonus aggressively, but even with all the buffs and boosts, you're only getting maximum value if they come home with 0 rounds left in the stores, including the engineer restocks. So shoot early, shoot often, scoot away, and shoot some more. That's how you do lots of damage to the enemy and soften it up for your broader scale offensive tools. Relatively, these are scalpels, since there's no way for one cannon firing at twice the speed equaling 4 cannons firing at regular. They cannot outshoot your ordinary artillery. They can last a lot longer because they're tanks. Make the most of it and then make it even better with magical support. A Bright Wizard adding Flaming Sword of Ruin is hard to mess up. A Bright Wizard plopping Flamestorm on a tank that's formed a blob is doing his job. These tactics haven't changed much, but the Volley Gun, often considered the lesser variant, looks to me like it's an even better skirmisher and harasser. It just needs restock love more than the other kind. So bring an engineer or two. It's a good idea regardless. Eventually, you'll have to set down roots and fight it out, but a gap in your line to shoot through, and a quick transition to melee when you see Chaos Warriors without long pointy halberds to slow you down, unprotected and ready to be rolled over, should pull you through a lot of situations. Sometimes the tank is your least worst option in the middle of a lot of maths, and handgunners and outriders with grenade launchers cleaning things off its hull is just how the battle is won. Take care, and have fun cooking your opponents with steam.